Tell me the truth. Luca Morti's voice echoed through the silent marble hall as he pointed a pistol directly at his wife's heart. Who are you? Valentina Rossi didn't flinch. Not when 20 armed men surrounded her. Not when the safety on Luca's pistol clicked off. Not even when everyone in the room held their breath. She looked into the eyes of the most feared mafia boss in Europe and spoke as calmly as if she were discussing the weather. I'm the woman who owns everything you've spent your life protecting. Silence. Luca's grip tightened around the gun. For the first time in years, fear flickered across his face. Not because of what she said, but because every one of his guards slowly lowered their weapons. One by one, they bowed to her. 3 months earlier. If you enjoy emotional mafia romances filled with shocking betrayals, hidden identities, and unforgettable plot twists, welcome to Velvet Twist Stories. Take a moment to subscribe so you never miss a new story. And if you're enjoying this journey, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. We'd love to know which part of the world you're joining us from. Now, let's go back to where everything began. Rain poured over northern Italy like the sky itself was mourning. Black umbrellas lined the entrance of the Morti estate. Luxury cars stretched for nearly half a mile down the mountain road. Politicians, judges, business moguls, crime bosses, every powerful figure who mattered had gathered beneath the same roof. Not because they were friends, because no one ignored an invitation from Luca Morti. At 34 years old, Luca had built an empire most governments feared. Officially, he was the billionaire CEO of Morti Global Holdings. Unofficially, he controlled one of Europe's most powerful mafia organizations. People called him many things. The Ice King, the Devil in Armani, the man who never forgave. No one called him kind. No one called him merciful. And absolutely no one dared cross him twice. Yet tonight, even Luca looked like a prisoner. He stood alone in a perfectly tailored black tuxedo, staring through the rain-soaked windows of his mansion. His jaw was tense. His hands rested behind his back. His expression revealed nothing. But inside, he hated every second of this night. His oldest advisor stepped beside him. It's time. Luca didn't move. I know. The guests are waiting. So let them wait. The old man hesitated. You know, refusing this marriage means war. Luca closed his eyes. War. That single word carried the weight of hundreds of lives. For months, rival mafia families had been preparing for bloodshed. Businesses had been attacked. Warehouses burned. Trusted allies disappeared overnight. The only proposal capable of preventing open war was marriage, a political alliance, not love, not choice, a contract. Luca finally turned toward the ballroom. I'll do my duty. Across the estate, far from the glittering chandeliers and expensive champagne, a young woman quietly folded freshly ironed towels inside the servants' quarters. No designer dress, no expensive jewelry, no makeup beyond what nature had given her. Just a simple gray uniform. Her dark hair was tied neatly behind her head. If anyone glanced at her, they'd assume she was just another maid. Invisible, forgettable, exactly how she wanted it. Her name, at least the one everyone here knew, was Anna. Only one person still called her by her real name. Valentina. She paused as an elderly housekeeper entered the room carrying a carefully protected garment bag. The older woman smiled warmly. They're ready for you. Valentina looked down. So it's finally time. The housekeeper nodded, though sadness lingered in her eyes. You still have time to run. Valentina offered a faint smile. If I run today, I'll spend the rest of my life running. The older woman gently touched her cheek. You remind me so much of your mother. For just a heartbeat. Valentina's composure cracked. Memories flashed through her mind. A warm laugh. A little girl running through vineyards. Her father's arms lifting her high into the air. Then, gunshots, glass shattering, screams, blood across polished marble, fire, a pair of frightened blue eyes reflected in a broken mirror. She blinked. The memories disappeared as quickly as they had come. They're waiting, the housekeeper whispered. Valentina nodded. Let's finish this. 30 minutes later. Music filled the enormous cathedral. Hundreds of guests stood. Luca waited at the altar. He didn't smile. He barely blinked. Then, the doors slowly opened. Every head turned. The bride entered, her face hidden beneath a delicate ivory veil. She walked with quiet grace. No trembling. No hesitation. Every step measured. Every movement controlled. Luca studied her carefully. Something felt different. Most women forced into arranged marriages cried. Some fainted. Others begged. This woman walked toward him like she already knew exactly how the evening would end. When she finally stood beside him, he caught the faint scent of jasmine. Unexpectedly, it calmed him. The priest began speaking. Luca heard almost none of it. Instead, he found himself studying the stranger beside him. Her hands, steady, her breathing, even, no fear. Who was she? When the ceremony ended, polite applause echoed through the cathedral. The newlyweds walked together toward the reception hall. Neither spoke for several minutes. Finally, Luca broke the silence. You don't look happy. Valentina kept her eyes ahead. I wasn't expecting happiness. Most people would at least pretend. She gave a quiet smile. I've never been very good at pretending. Luca almost laughed. Almost. Instead, he asked, Are you afraid of me? She looked at him for the first time. Not at his expensive watch. Not at the scar across his jaw. Into his eyes. I don't know you well enough to answer that. For reasons he couldn't explain. Her honesty caught him completely off guard. The reception sparkled with wealth. Crystal chandeliers. Live orchestra. Champagne fountains. The world's most powerful people, pretending they weren't constantly calculating each other's weaknesses. Valentina remained beside Luca, observing quietly. She noticed everything. A waiter whose shoes were too clean. A violinist who never looked at his instrument. A bodyguard whispering into an earpiece while pretending to smile. Something wasn't right. Her instincts sharpened. She subtly reached for Luca's sleeve. Don't drink that. He frowned. Why? Trust me. He glanced toward the champagne flute. Then back at her. Before he could respond, a loud crash echoed from the balcony above. Glass exploded across the ballroom. Guests screamed. The orchestra stopped. Another sharp crack rang through the room. Not glass. A rifle. DOWN. Luca shoved Valentina behind a marble pillar as another bullet tore through the chandelier overhead. Crystal rained across the ballroom. Chaos erupted. People ran in every direction. Bodyguards drew weapons. Someone shouted, "Protect the boss." Luca pulled his pistol from beneath his jacket. His eyes scanned every balcony, every doorway, every shadow. But before he could move, he felt a hand grip his wrist. "Valentina, not that way." He stared at her. "What?" "The shooter wants you to run toward the east corridor." "How do you know that?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed toward a decorative mirror. The reflection revealed something no one else had noticed. A second sniper, waiting exactly where Luca would have taken cover. Luca's eyes narrowed. If he'd moved 1 second earlier, he would already be dead. He slowly turned back toward her. For the very first time, the mysterious woman he'd married no longer looked like an ordinary bride. She looked prepared, as though she'd seen death before, and knew exactly how it moved. The ballroom echoed with screams. Guests crawled beneath tables. Crystal chandeliers swayed violently as armed guards flooded the room. Luca kept his pistol raised, but his attention wasn't on the snipers anymore. It was on his wife. She had spotted the second assassin before any of his trained men had. That wasn't luck. That was experience. He glanced toward the mirror she had pointed at just seconds earlier. The second sniper had already disappeared. Luca's jaw tightened. "Get everyone out," he ordered. His security team immediately moved the guests toward the emergency exits. Valentina remained surprisingly calm. She wasn't watching the terrified crowd. She was studying the room. Every doorway, every security camera, every bodyguard, as if she were silently putting together pieces of a puzzle. Luca noticed. "You've seen attacks like this before." She met his eyes. "I've seen what happens when people ignore the small details." Before he could ask another question, one of his captains rushed over. "Boss, both shooters escaped." Luca's expression darkened. "They knew our security routes." The captain lowered his head. "I'm afraid so. Someone inside the estate had helped them. There was a traitor." An hour later, the mansion had become strangely quiet. Police would never be called. Not for families like the Mortys. Their problems stayed inside the family. Luca stood in his private office, overlooking the dark vineyards below. The attack played over and over in his mind. Someone had leaked the seating arrangements. Someone knew exactly where he would stand. Someone wanted him dead. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. "Come in." Valentina entered carrying a tray with 2 cups of coffee. "I thought you might need this." Luca raised an eyebrow. "I didn't know maids served coffee to mafia bosses." She smiled faintly. "I didn't know mafia bosses accepted coffee from strangers." For the first time that night, the corner of Luca's mouth lifted. "Barely. You have courage." "No." She placed the cup on his desk. "I've simply learned that fear doesn't solve anything." Luca watched her carefully. Every answer she gave revealed almost nothing, yet somehow said everything. Meanwhile, from the second-floor balcony, a woman silently watched them. Bianca Morty. Elegant, beautiful, perfectly composed. To everyone else, she was Luca's devoted adopted sister. Only Bianca knew the truth. As she watched Luca speaking with his new wife, jealousy burned inside her. She had spent years earning Luca's trust. Now this mysterious woman had captured his attention in a single evening. Bianca quietly pulled out her phone. A single encrypted message appeared on the screen. "Target survived. A reply arrived seconds later. Then finished the job. She deleted the conversation. Her smile returned before anyone could see the hatred behind it. The following morning, the mansion buzzed with activity. Extra guards patrolled every hallway. Security cameras were replaced. Every employee was questioned. Valentina wandered through the enormous library while pretending to dust antique books. In reality, she was searching, not for valuables, for information. Her eyes stopped on a faded family photograph displayed on a shelf. Luca, a younger Bianca, an older gentleman standing proudly behind them. Don Vittorio Romano. The moment Valentina saw his face, her heartbeat stopped. She knew that face, not from the photograph, from a nightmare she had carried since childhood. A flash of memory struck her. A frightened little girl hiding beneath a staircase. A man's polished black shoes stepping through broken glass. A gold ring engraved with a lion. The same ring Don Vittorio still wore today. Valentina instinctively gripped the edge of the shelf. "No," she whispered. "It can't be. Can it? You've met him before." Luca's voice startled her. She quickly placed the photograph back. "I was just curious." Luca walked over. He picked up the frame. "That's Don Vittorio. He helped raise me after my parents died." Valentina forced herself to remain calm. "He must mean a lot to you." "He does." There wasn't a second of hesitation in Luca's answer. "He taught me loyalty." Valentina looked away before her emotions betrayed her. If Don Vittorio truly was the man from her memories, then the person Luca trusted most could also be the man responsible for destroying her family. That evening, Luca summoned his inner circle. Only his most trusted captains attended. Valentina quietly served drinks from the corner of the room. Invisible, exactly as everyone expected, Don Vittorio entered last. The room instantly stood. He greeted Luca warmly. "My son." Luca embraced him. Valentina watched every movement. Then she noticed it. As Don Vittorio reached for his glass, the sleeve of his jacket shifted. A gold lion-shaped ring, exactly like the one from her memory. Her breathing became shallow. She could almost hear the gunshots again. Her mother's scream. Her father's voice. "Run, Valentina." She blinked back tears. "Not now. Not here." The meeting continued. Maps covered the table. Warehouse locations. Business routes. Future shipments. Luca outlined new security plans. No one noticed Don Vittorio quietly studying every document. No one, except Valentina. His eyes lingered too long on one shipping route, almost as if he intended to remember it. She filed the detail away in silence. Later that night, Luca found Valentina standing alone in the estate garden. Moonlight reflected across the fountain. "You've been avoiding everyone." She gave a tired smile. "I've had a long day." "So have I." For several moments, neither spoke. Finally, Luca broke the silence. "When the shooting started, you saved my life." She shrugged gently. "I simply noticed something others missed." "That's exactly what worries me." She looked at him. "Why?" "Because ordinary people don't notice things like that." The words lingered between them. He wasn't accusing her. He was trying to understand her. Valentina's heart ached. She wanted to tell him everything. Who she really was. Why she had come. why she had agreed to this marriage. But if she spoke too soon, years of planning would collapse, and the people who murdered her parents would disappear forever. Instead, she simply said, "One day, you'll understand." Luca searched her face. For the first time in years, he realized he wanted someone to trust. And somehow, against all reason, he wanted that person to be her. Inside the mansion, Bianca watched them from an upstairs window. Her nails dug into her palms. She smiled coldly. "If I can't separate them, I'll make sure neither of them survives." She picked up her phone once more. Another encrypted message. "Tomorrow night. Warehouse 17. He'll be there." She pressed send. Outside, a shadow silently watched Bianca from the darkness beyond the estate gates. An older man wearing a long black coat, his face hidden beneath the brim of his hat. He lowered a pair of binoculars, then quietly disappeared into the night, before anyone realized they had been watched. The next evening, Warehouse 17 stood alone at the edge of the harbor. Rain drummed against the rusted metal roof as black SUVs rolled through the gates. Luca stepped out first. Around him, nearly 20 armed men spread out to secure the area. This shipment was too important to lose. Or so he believed. Valentina watched from the passenger seat. Her stomach tightened. Something felt wrong. The warehouse was too quiet. No workers. No forklifts. No trucks waiting to be loaded. Just silence. She slowly reached for Luca's arm. "Don't go inside." He turned. "You've said that before. And you were right." She nodded. "I'm saying it again." Luca searched her face. "Tell me why." "I can't." His expression hardened. "Then I can't listen." He stepped out of the vehicle. Valentina closed her eyes. "Please don't make me lose someone else." Inside the warehouse, one of Luca's captains frowned. "Bossy, the shipment isn't here." Before Luca could answer, the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the building. A split second later, gunfire exploded from every direction. Bullets tore through crates. Glass shattered. Men shouted orders over the deafening noise. "It's an ambush." Luca dove behind a steel container and returned fire. 2 attackers fell, but more kept coming. Someone had known exactly when he would arrive. Someone had betrayed him. Again, outside, Valentina heard the first gunshots. Without thinking, she jumped from the SUV. One of Luca's bodyguards grabbed her wrist. "Mrs. Morty, you have to stay back." She pulled free. "If I stay here, he dies." Before the guard could stop her, she disappeared into the warehouse. Smoke filled the air. Visibility was almost gone. Valentina moved with astonishing precision. She wasn't running blindly. She was calculating, listening, counting footsteps. She spotted a sniper climbing onto a steel platform above Luca. He hadn't seen him. The rifle slowly aimed downward. Valentina's heart stopped. "Luca!" He looked up instinctively. The sniper fired. Luca turned at the last possible second. The bullet grazed his shoulder instead of piercing his heart. Without hesitation, Valentina grabbed a loose metal pipe and hurled it upward. The sniper lost his balance and crashed onto the concrete floor below. The warehouse fell silent for one brief moment. Every one of Luca's men stared at her. No ordinary woman could have done that. No ordinary maid moved like that. No ordinary bride stayed calm in a battlefield. Minutes later, the attackers retreated into the darkness. Police sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Luca sat against a crate while one of his doctors bandaged his shoulder. His eyes never left Valentina. She stood several feet away, her breathing steady, almost too steady. Finally, he spoke. "Who taught you to fight?" She hesitated. "I learned a long time ago." "From who?" Silence. His voice became firmer. "You knew where the sniper was. You knew where I shouldn't stand. You knew exactly how to save me." His jaw tightened. "You've lied to me since the day we met." Valentina took one slow step toward him. "I've hidden things. I never lied about wanting you alive." Luca laughed bitterly. "That's supposed to make me feel better." "No, it's simply the truth." He stood despite the pain in his shoulder. "I don't even know who my own wife is." Those words struck harder than any bullet. Valentina lowered her eyes. "I wish I could tell you." "Then tell me." "I can't." "Why?" "Because if I do, people will die." Luca stared at her. For the first time since they married, he took a step backward. Not because he feared her, because he no longer knew whether he could trust her. Later that night, the mansion felt colder than ever. Luca sat alone in his study. A glass of untouched whiskey rested beside him. His closest captain entered quietly. "We searched her room." Luca looked up sharply. "You what?" "We found this." He placed an old newspaper clipping on the desk. Luca picked it up. The article was nearly 20 years old. A billionaire couple had been murdered inside their mansion. Their young daughter had vanished without a trace. Across the bottom, someone had circled one name in red ink: Valentina Rossi. Luca's pulse quickened. His captain continued, "Your wife has been hiding something since before she came here." Luca stared at the faded photograph of the missing little girl. The child's eyes looked hauntingly familiar. Meanwhile, Valentina quietly packed a small leather bag. She knew what was coming. Sooner or later, Luca would discover pieces of her past. Just not the whole truth. A knock echoed softly on her bedroom door. She opened it. No one. Only a small envelope lying on the floor. Inside, a single handwritten note. "If you want the truth about your parents, come alone." Midnight. The old chapel. There was no signature. The chapel had been abandoned for decades. Its stained glass windows were broken, the wooden pews covered in dust. Valentina stepped inside cautiously. "Hello." Only silence answered. Then, a familiar voice. "You've grown into your mother's courage." Valentina froze. An older man slowly emerged from the shadows. Gray hair, weathered face, kind eyes filled with emotion. Tears instantly filled hers. She whispered the name she hadn't spoken since childhood. "Uncle Marco." The man smiled through his own tears. "Yes." She stumbled toward him. "No. They told me you died." Marco gently shook his head. "I had to let the world believe that." Before she could ask another question, he embraced her tightly. "I promised your father I'd protect you. I've been watching over you ever since." Valentina broke down. For the first time in years, she wasn't alone. Back at the Morty estate, Bianca stood outside Luca's study. A satisfied smile crossed her face as she overheard him ordering an investigation into his own wife. Exactly as she'd planned. She whispered to herself, Trust is easy to destroy, especially between two people who have just begun to love each other. A quick pause before we continue. If this story is keeping you on the edge of your seat, we'd love to have you as part of our growing family here on Velvet with Stories. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next emotional twist. And if you're enjoying the story, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. It's always amazing to see our storytelling family joining us from all around the world. Now, the biggest secrets are finally beginning to surface. And from this point on, nothing will ever be the same. The abandoned chapel was silent. Only the sound of rain tapping against the broken stained glass windows filled the air. Valentina slowly stepped back from Marco, searching his face as though she feared he would disappear again. "I watched them bury an empty coffin," she whispered. Marco lowered his head. "I know. You let me believe you were dead. I had to." His voice carried years of regret. "The people who murdered your parents were still searching for you. If they knew I was alive, they would have found you." Valentina's eyes filled with tears. "So I've been alone all these years?" Marco gently shook his head. "No, I was never far away." He reached into his coat and pulled out a worn leather folder. "I've spent 20 years collecting this." Valentina opened it. Inside were photographs, bank records, old newspaper articles, shipping manifests, even surveillance pictures. Every document pointed toward the same man, Don Vittorio Romano. Her hands trembled. So it really was him. Marco nodded. "Your father discovered that Don Vittorio had been using legitimate corporations to hide billions in criminal money. He was going to expose everyone. They couldn't allow that." Valentina closed the folder. The anger she'd buried since childhood finally had a face. Meanwhile, Luca sat alone in his office. The old newspaper clipping remained on his desk. He looked at the photograph of the missing little girl again, then at a recent picture of Valentina. The same eyes, the same expression, the same quiet strength. A soft knock interrupted him. "Come in." His head of security entered. "We finished tracing the warehouse leak." Luca looked up immediately. "And?" The man hesitated. "The information wasn't leaked by your wife." Luca stood. "Who was it?" "We don't know yet. But someone inside your family gave the attackers your exact route." Luca's stomach tightened. If Valentina hadn't betrayed him, then someone much closer had. The next morning, Bianca appeared in Luca's office carrying breakfast. She smiled warmly. "You didn't sleep." "I had work." "You've always worked too hard." She placed the tray on his desk. "Have you spoken to your wife?" "No." Bianca sighed dramatically. "I hate seeing you hurt." Luca remained silent. She continued carefully. "I know she's hiding something. But maybe some secrets are too dangerous to forgive." Luca looked away. Exactly the reaction Bianca wanted. Across the city, a convoy of black luxury vehicles stopped in front of one of Europe's tallest skyscrapers, the headquarters of Rossi International Holdings. Executives hurried toward the entrance. News reporters crowded the sidewalks. Valentina stepped out of the first car. Gone was the quiet maid. Gone was the simple gray dress. She wore an elegant cream-colored business suit. Her hair flowed freely over her shoulders. She looked every bit the billionaire she truly was. The building's glass doors opened. Hundreds of employees lined both sides of the lobby. As she walked forward, every single one of them stood. Then, they applauded. Not politely, proudly, respectfully. The chairman approached with a smile. "Welcome home, Miss Rossi." Valentina simply nodded. "It's time." At that exact moment, Luca entered the building. He had followed one of Marco's leads, hoping to uncover the truth about his wife. The receptionist smiled politely. "Are you here for the board meeting?" "No. I'm looking for my wife." She checked her tablet. "Mrs. Rossi is already inside." Luca frowned. "Mrs. Rossi." Before he could ask another question, the boardroom doors opened. Dozens of billionaires stood simultaneously. The chairman spoke clearly. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our founder, our owner, and chief executive officer, Valentina Rossi." The room erupted into applause. Luca couldn't move. His heart pounded. His wife, the quiet woman who made him coffee, the woman everyone believed was a maid, owned the entire corporation, one of the largest business empires in Europe. His mind raced through every conversation they'd shared, every moment she had remained calm, every detail she had noticed, every question she had avoided. It all made sense now. Valentina finally turned toward the doorway. Their eyes met. Neither spoke. Neither needed to. Luca understood one thing instantly. She hadn't hidden because she was ashamed. She had hidden because someone wanted her dead. Outside the boardroom, Luca caught up with her. "Why?" His voice was quiet. "You should have trusted me." Valentina looked at him sadly. "I wanted to. So why didn't you?" She took a slow breath. "Because everyone I've ever trusted ended up buried." The word struck him harder than anything else. "I wasn't trying to deceive you. I was trying to survive." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Luca finally asked, "Can you tell me everything now?" Before Valentina could answer, Marco hurried toward them. His expression had changed completely. Urgency replaced relief. "They found us." Valentina's face turned pale. "Who?" Marco looked directly at Luca. "Don Vittorio. And he knows the truth." At that exact moment, Luca's phone rang. He answered immediately. One of his captains shouted through the speaker, "Boss, they've taken over the estate." Several gunshots echoed in the background. Then the line went dead. Luca stared at the phone. "No." Another phone began ringing. This time, it was Valentina's. She answered cautiously. A familiar voice laughed softly. "Don Vittorio. You've been searching for me for a long time, Valentina." She remained silent. "I have someone who would very much like to see you." A chair scraped across the floor. A muffled voice struggled against restraints. "Luca." Valentina's heart stopped. Don Vittorio smiled. "If you want your husband alive, come alone." The call disconnected. The silence that followed felt unbearable. Luca, the man she had sworn to protect, was now the bait. Marco immediately reached for his gun. "We're calling every ally we have." Valentina slowly shook her head. "No, they're expecting an army." She looked toward the dark horizon outside the skyscraper windows. Then back at Marco. Then at the phone still trembling in her hand. "This ends tonight." She walked toward the elevator. Marco called after her, "Valentina." She stopped without turning around. "I've spent 20 years hiding. A tear slipped down her cheek. I'm done hiding. The elevator doors closed. And for the first time, the woman who had entered Luca's life, pretending to be powerless, walked toward her greatest enemy with nothing left to lose. The old Romana winery sat alone on a hill overlooking the sea. Years ago, it had produced some of Italy's finest wines. Tonight, it had become a fortress. Armed guards patrolled every entrance. Floodlights swept across the vineyards. Inside the underground cellar, Luca Morti was tied to a heavy wooden chair. Blood trickled from a cut above his eyebrow. Across from him stood Don Vittorio Romano, the man Luca had trusted like a father. You look disappointed, Don Vittorio said with a smile. Luca slowly raised his head. You betrayed me. Don Vittorio laughed. No, Luca. I simply stayed loyal to myself. Outside the estate, a single black sedan stopped at the entrance. The guards immediately surrounded it. The driver's door opened. Valentina stepped out alone. No bodyguards. No weapons in her hands. Exactly as Don Vittorio had demanded. One of the guards searched her. She's clean. They escorted her toward the cellar. None of them noticed. Several unmarked government vehicles had quietly taken positions far beyond the vineyards. Their headlights remained off. Waiting. The cellar door creaked open. Luca looked up. His heart sank. Valentina, what are you doing? She met his eyes. I came to bring you home. Don Vittorio clapped slowly. How touching. I always wondered whether love would make you foolish. Valentina stood perfectly still. It didn't. It made me brave. Don Vittorio smiled. You sound just like your father. The room fell silent. Valentina's eyes hardened. You murdered him. I did. Luca's head snapped toward Don Vittorio. The old man didn't even try to deny it. He refused to join me. He believed laws mattered. He believed honesty could change the world. Don Vittorio laughed bitterly. So I taught him reality. Valentina's hands trembled. And my mother. His smile faded. She refused to leave him. The answer shattered the last piece of hope Valentina had carried for 20 years. Don Vittorio stepped closer. Now, you've spent your whole life searching for the truth. You finally have it. What will you do? Valentina slowly reached into her jacket. The guards immediately aimed their weapons. She calmly placed a small recording device on the table. A red light blinked. Don Vittorio stared at it. His smile disappeared. You admitted everything. Before he could react, the underground cellar exploded with voices. Federal police. Nobody move. Drop your weapons. The heavy steel doors burst open. Dozens of armed officers rushed inside. Behind them came financial crime investigators carrying sealed warrants. Panic erupted. Some guards surrendered immediately. Others reached for their guns. Gunfire echoed through the cellar. In the middle of the chaos, Bianca appeared. She had escaped through a hidden tunnel. A pistol trembled in her hands. Her eyes burned with hatred. If I can't have this empire, no one will. She raised the gun. Not toward Valentina. Toward Luca. Valentina screamed. Luca! The shot rang out. At that exact moment, Marco threw himself between them. The bullet struck his shoulder. He collapsed to the ground. Uncle! Valentina ran to him. Marco smiled despite the pain. I promised your father I'd protect you. I wasn't about to break that promise. Tears streamed down Valentina's face. You don't get to leave me again. Marco chuckled weakly. I'm not planning to. Paramedics rushed forward and quickly carried him to safety. He was alive. Bianca tried to run. She barely reached the cellar stairs before officers surrounded her. She looked toward Luca one last time. I loved you. Luca's voice was calm. No. You loved power. The officers placed handcuffs around her wrists and led her away. She never looked back. Don Vittorio stood alone. His empire had collapsed in minutes. His guards were arrested. His accounts frozen. His crimes recorded. He looked at Valentina. You think you've won? She stepped closer. No. My parents won. They raised a daughter who refused to become like you. For the first time in his life, Don Vittorio lowered his head. The officers led him away in silence. 6 months later, the Morty estate looked different. The armed checkpoints were gone. The walls no longer felt like a prison. Luca stood in the courtyard watching workers remove the last security barriers. Valentina joined him. It's strange. What is? The silence. She smiled. I think it's called peace. He laughed softly. I'll need time to get used to it. She slipped her hand into his. You won't have to do it alone. Luca officially stepped away from organized crime. Every legitimate business under the Morty name merged with Rossi International. Thousands of employees kept their jobs. Every illegal operation was permanently shut down. The empire that had once been built on fear would now be remembered for opportunity. A few weeks later, Marco arrived at the estate with his arm still in a sling. Valentina hugged him tightly. I was beginning to think you'd move into the hospital. Marco smiled. The nurses finally got tired of me. Luca walked over carrying a small wooden box. I have something for both of you. Valentina opened it slowly. Inside lay a set of old brass keys. She frowned. What are these? Luca smiled. The keys to your childhood home. Her eyes widened. I bought the estate back. They were going to demolish it. I couldn't let that happen. Tears filled her eyes. You rebuilt it. I restored every room exactly as it was. Valentina covered her mouth. For a moment, she couldn't speak. Later that evening, the three of them stood on the balcony of the restored family home. The sun slowly disappeared behind the vineyards, the same place where her parents had once dreamed about the future. Luca wrapped an arm around Valentina. Our children. He paused. They'll never have to inherit fear. She leaned against him. They'll inherit the truth. And love. Marco smiled quietly as he looked toward the sunset. After 20 years, the Rossi family had finally come home. Final reflection. Sometimes the greatest power isn't wealth, or influence, or fear. Sometimes it's choosing kindness after surviving cruelty. Choosing forgiveness without forgetting. Choosing to protect others instead of seeking endless revenge. Valentina reclaimed her family's legacy. But the greatest victory wasn't rebuilding an empire. It was rebuilding a home. A place where love was finally stronger than betrayal. If this story touched your heart and you enjoyed every twist along the way, we'd love to welcome you back for more unforgettable stories here on Velvet with Stories. Please subscribe for more emotional mafia romances, billionaire secrets, shocking betrayals, and heartwarming endings. And before you go, Leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and which moment surprised you the most. Until the next story, thank you for spending your time with Velvet Wish Stories, where every secret has a price and every twist changes everything.